Have you ever felt like that you are constantly chasing something? Like whether it's success, validation, or just a moment peace for yourself, and yet no matter how hard you try, it always feels kind of out of reach. I think that's because most of us are living within a sense of self that is tied to things that are fleeting, like our job or relationships, possessions, or even our emotions. So when we tie who we are to things that change, we create a life that's filled with stress and anxiety and inner conflict. So today I want to talk to you beyond that. I want to show you how you can connect to the deeper sense of yourself, the real you, the part of you that's eternal, unchanging, and infinitely free. So this is what the ancient teachings they call the Atman, or this true self. And when you realize this, you step into a reality that's not bound by chaos of the mind, but instead rooted in a sense of deep peace, presence, clarity, and joy. So let's start with what we all know all too well. This is this kind of transient self. This is the version of you that believes that I am my job, or I am my excess, or that I am these emotions or these emotional states which come and go. And the problem with this is that none of these things last. Like jobs come and go, and relationships evolve or change, and emotions are like waves, right? They rise and crash and they fade. So when we identify with these things, we become vulnerable. We become vulnerable to fear, to stress, and to the inevitable changes that life brings. Not a healthy vulnerability. So this is why so many of us feel trapped. And we feel trapped in cycles of worry, trapped in the need to prove ourselves, trapped in the belief that we're never enough. But what if I told you there's a deeper truth here? There's a part of you that doesn't change, ever. And it's a part of you that isn't affected by life's up and downs. So this deeper truth is what we call the Atman in Vedic tradition. So the Atman is not your thoughts, not your body, or even your mind. It's the eternal, unchanging essence of who you are. So think of it like this. You are not the clouds that pass across the sky, right? You're the sky itself. The clouds, like your thoughts, emotions, and your life circumstances, they come and go. But the sky remains untouched and unshaken. It's always present. So the Atman is your pure consciousness. It's the part of you that it's always been there. Always. It was there when you were a child, and it's there now. It was there before you were born. And it will remain long after the world's chaos subsides. So when you connect to this truth, everything changes, and suddenly the things that once caused stress or fear begin to lose their power over you. And how come? Right? It's because you're no longer tied to what is temporary or transient. You're anchored in yourself, and yourself is what is eternal. So let's take a step further here with that. So the ancient teachings here, they describe the true nature of reality as what we call Sat-Chit-Ananda. Sat-Chit-Ananda. That means existence, consciousness, bliss. But what does that really mean here? So I think we need to break that down. So Sat means existence. It's the unchanging foundation of everything, existence itself. It's not just your existence, it's the existence of the entire cosmos. It's the fact that you are, that life is. It's eternal. It doesn't come and go. It's existence itself. Right? Chit means consciousness. So this is like awareness. It's the light that illuminates your entire experience. So without consciousness, nothing can be known or perceived. It's the knowing principle that allows you to say, I am. Now, Ananda means bliss. Not this kind of fleeting happiness that we get from external things. Not like one day I'm happy and the next day I'm not. It's something that's always present. It's this kind of bliss that's unshakable and deep. It's this joy that arises when you realize your true nature. So it's always there, always in the background. Even when you're in a poor mood or you're feeling depressed or down or lethargic, that bliss, Ananda, is still present. It's not dependent upon the conditioned states of your sense of self. It's a natural state of being when you stop identifying with what's temporary and rest in that eternal infinite, that Sat-Chit-Ananda. So here's the key with this. The Sat, Chit, and Ananda, they're not separate, right? They're not separate things that go together. They're one. Existence, consciousness, and bliss are a single reality. It's a reality that you're already part of, inescapably. You are existence itself. Not a part of existence, you are that existence. So when you establish yourself in this kind of truth, everything here shifts. The limitations of your mind, the fears, doubts, the constant mental chatter, it all begins to dissolve. So think of your mind like a still pond. When the water's agitated, it's full of ripples and waves, right? But when it's calm, you can see straight to the bottom. It's the same way when you rest in this Sat-Chit-Ananda. The waves of thought and emotion settle, and your true nature becomes clear. So you no longer feel the need to cling to fleeting identities or fight against life's changes. You're no longer a slave to stress, anxiety, or fear, and instead you live from a place of clarity, peace, and joy, or that begins, right? It's not just suddenly. Sometimes it is, but for the majority of us going through this, it's gradual, and that's normal. This conditioning's been in place for sometimes 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. But this isn't about you, right? So when you realize your true self, you begin to see that same self in everyone and everything. So you deeply connect to the world, not because you're trying to, but because you understand that there is no separation to begin with. So here's the invitation I want to leave you with. Stop identifying with what is fleeting. Stop defining yourself by the things that come and go. And even if you say, "Oh, I don't do that," look into it for yourself. It's quite ingrained. And instead, turn inward. Discover the part of you that's always been there, that's always been present, that is eternal, that's unchanging, and is free. This is your true self. This is the Atman. And when you live from this place, you experience reality as it is, an endless expression of Sat, Chit, Ananda, existence, consciousness, and bliss. So if you're ready to take that step and let go of the stress and the anxiety and the conflict and to step into the fullness of who you are, just know this: it's all ready within you. All you have to do is turn your attention to it. Turn your attention inward and remember. Thanks for being here with me today. Namaskar.